Okay, well, we need to revisit this Michael versus Prince,
Okay.
right? Because you've said some interesting things about the comparisons. Now, I personally think they're apples and oranges. I think they're two different artists.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, but I think that Prince has a greater influence than he's given uh
Credit for?
credit for. Yeah,
Okay.
I think a lot of people. I mean, he's a lot of people are, he's D'Angelo credits him as a influence, and he had a great influence on the game. A lot of the neo soul artists will do that. They will credit
Mm,
Prince. A lot of rock artists will credit Prince. So I think that Michael and Prince, I would never put them together.
yeah.
But why do you feel that you put Michael in this untouchable thing over Prince?
Well, I think for Michael, it was very much of he has, he probably had the top three biggest selling albums. When it comes to concerts, he sold out Wembley Arena for 8 nights. In the 80s, which was unbelievable, unheard of. 80,000 people showing up each night in the UK.
Right.
During his bad tour. His music videos. They used to, I remember when there was a premiere on BET Fox after The Simpsons. Okay, we're going to premiere the new Michael Jackson video. I think black and white. It used to be an event that Michael Jackson has released a new music video. The world stops, watches, and
Right.
comments. So he has been. I still remember, if you ever watched Moonwalker, they showed people. They showed from Ronald Reagan to George Bush to President Clinton. Well, even though, but then afterwards, Clinton, all commending Michael and giving him like the Medal of Honor and keys to the city, through to the nation, because of his worldwide influence. From Michael, from the Queen to Mandela. So he became, bigger than movie stars and bigger than just recording stars. That's he took music was one thing, but his awe and celebrity, and then his ability just to change. And he could sing, but he could also perform, and he also always credits the people who were before him. He took Jackie Wilson, James Brown, Fred Astaire. He would mention them by name. So these are the people I learned from, and I was a student. And when you listen to people who have been in the game talk about watching him in the studio, how he takes it seriously and everything. So so that was one thing. But then it's his impact on the globe as an artist and entertainer.
Right.
I don't see any artist. People talk about. Look, I'm from Liverpool, so the Beatles are from Liverpool. So
Right.
I've always grew up in Liverpool, and we've got the Beatles and we've got the football team. So it was always part of it. But they came around for like 7 years and disappeared. And they were
A lot
just
of people don't
releasing.
realize that.
Yeah, they had 6-7 years, released 6
7 years.
albums, and they disappeared. And so and I'm thinking, well, yeah, but why are they just holding on to them as stuff? They didn't. Yes, they did. They went to the States at Solomon's show and rocked out, but it didn't dominate Africa or Asia.
Right.
They didn't. They had such a limited impact. They rocked America and the UK and the rest of Europe, but then that was it. They stopped, and they didn't tour again. Michael's gone to every country in the world. So Prince hasn't. He's in America. People people would say, "Oh, Prince is great" and stuff like that, and musicians would appreciate him because as an artist, as a musician. He's second to none. He's probably one of the greatest musicians and performers. Write lyricists, and he's thinking outside the box, taking on the labels. I mean, he's a genius. But as I said, if he was to stand on stage, when they're both in their heyday, and they were to do, if he had, if he had a lineup and says, okay, Prince is here. And then Michael's here, take a ticket. I'm wondering where you think most people go to during their peak. Maybe during the peak was probably Purple Rain and the Bad album.
I think more people would go to Michael, but I think there is a significant number of people that will go to Prince, and I think there's something being overlooked here. But we're going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
But in the context of a versus, I'm going to take everybody back so we can get back on track, because a lot of people can see, oh, this and that, and these different reasons. But versus is about putting hits next to hits. I think people will be surprised at what Prince could pull out on Michael. That's why I would like to see it. I would never put them together, but Michael has mega hits. But Prince has mega hits. And I think where it's going to really get interesting is that when, Prince pull out Erotic City, or when he pull out, those are the things you probably
Erotic
don't even, I think you don't. Yeah, Erotic City is one of his songs. Everything is not a number one single. Sometimes it's just the thing that people are still playing today. When Prince pull out, Let's Go Crazy and all these different things, it's a lot of songs that people, and the thing is, what song would be put up against this song, that song, Bad? What is Prince going to pull out when Michael pull out Bad? I would love to see just in there, not what we would pick, but what they would pick.
Yeah.
And that's what I would love to see, because I know how that arrogance on both sides. I know Prince, he's very he's real like sneaky and shady. I want to see that for that reason alone. And when you think about the discography, I mean, Prince's hits discography has 3 discs. That's just for his music. He's actually written hits for other people, the Bangles, or I mean, he's written hits for other.
Tevin Campbell, yep.
Vanity, all of these people. There's so many things he could pull out. That's why you can't underestimate a Prince. I love Michael. Michael is the top. But when it comes down to hits, now Michael has wrote songs for other people, like Diana Ross. He wrote Muscles. He's wrote he's wrote a few things, Centipede for Rebe, but Prince is a quintessential songwriter and musician. Everything that came out his mouth, he's written it. Everything that he's written, he's conceptualized groups and bands and put them out on display. So it's so many more things that Prince have done that Michael has not necessarily done, that people don't acknowledge. Prince was the one that saw streaming and the way music and stuff like that is done on the internet and stuff. He saw that before all the Black artists did. All of the artists in general have done. So there's so many things when you got to take yourself out of certain things and think about, what is this other person done? Because I think we just automatically, when you say Michael Jackson, oh, there's no way, no one. And I love Michael, and I do give Michael the win, but I'm just saying, let's not act like Prince is, he had a couple of hits. No, that man is a phenomenon in himself.
Yeah, and
things he's been able to do.
Yeah, and I will acknowledge Prince. Prince took on Warner Brothers, and at the time, most of us didn't understand when he wrote "Slave" on his face. Now, it's almost as if, wow, we didn't understand what he was doing. He put out 2 albums in a year so he can get out of his deal. We didn't understand.
He directed movies, wrote movie scripts.
Yeah, but then again, Michael Jackson owned the Beatles catalog. He owned Eminem's Eminem made fun of him, and he bought out his catalog without Eminem having understanding. So as business wise as well, but when you think of the fact that he, Bad was the only album to have 7 tracks off of that album in the top 10 of top 10 with top 10 hits on one album. That's the record. No one else has done that. So when you think about, okay, if you just brought up Bad, okay, let me just bring up Thriller and bring out, because he's had, everyone knows the songs. If they're playing, your friends can.
If we're gonna play the numbers game, if you're gonna play the numbers game, then that means that Teddy ain't have no business stepping in the ring with Babyface. Babyface has had massive hits that have been on the charts for 14, 15, 16 weeks. So Teddy had no business stepping in that ring. What song that Teddy produced that stayed on the top of the Billboard for 14 weeks?
It's not about the how long they were on the charts. So Teddy could have just stayed on with the party hits, and he would have he would have won that easily if he had stayed on that instead of trying to match Babyface.
But what you're getting at is emotion and feeling. I'm glad I got you because you said party hits. So this is the thing. That's why I say with Michael and Prince, I would love to actually see the songs that they would choose to put up against each other.
Yeah.
We're not talking about numbers. Same thing with Jay-Z and all that stuff. I'm not talking about numbers and all of that. I'm just saying let's put the song on and see how the audience reacts to the pairing. Because that was the exciting, that's the thing we're missing from that Babyface and that Teddy Riley versus is the anticipation, the excitement, the oh, he put that out, like he pulled that out of the thing, or the disappointment, like why did you play that with that, like
Deep.
that's the excitement I'm looking for when I look at a versus. I'm not looking at, oh, this person sold 8 million copies, this person sold 3, like that. Realistically, that's cute in like a music nerd kind of conversation, which I'm a music nerd, proud of it, but I try not to bring that into these conversations because it gets a little boring and people don't want to hear about, oh, this person had this many versus that many. They just want to know emotionally, I like this person better, they're better because of this. And with Michael and Prince, I know people that are Prince fans. They are not, I mean, you can't tell them that Prince is not better than Michael Jackson. I know them. Their music, I like, and a lot of musician people, a lot of people that like harder edge music, because there are people that like, some people look at Michael Jackson's music as kind of, I don't want to say corny, but they look at Prince's music as edgy and rebellious and different and funky and crazy and sexual. It's so many elements in Prince's music that he plays with that Michael doesn't. Michael stays for a general audience. And it's kind of the same thing with the Boys to Men Jodeci conversation. Boys to Men has a kind of sanitized kind of aesthetic kind of sound or whatever, whereas Jodeci is a little bit more dirtier, a little grittier, and a little bit more nastier in a sense. Because they were never as nasty as people made them, but so I mean, that's why you have that.
As I said, there was an unwritten rule that if you either Michael or Prince, and so as I said, I've never watched Purple Rain or because I've never listened, I've only just because it was almost as if how dare he come close to the king of pop, this Prince. But then again, as I said, but I nothing.
What was your favorite song from Prince again? You said it was the most beautifulest girl.
The most beautiful is the only one I could sort of relate to the most. I mean, Kiss was good. I like Kiss.
If that was your favorite song, you're not a Prince
was
fan.
Good.
Like that's what I wanted to say the first time. Like if that is your favorite Prince song,
1999 wasn't bad. Let's call it as 1999.
Right. Listen to those lyrics. Listen to that concept. It's just never been done.
You said what? Red Corvette. Yeah. I mean,
these are the pop hits. Like we got to get in the deep dive of the.
Yeah, but as I said, I have every song the Michael released from. You got to look.
Sign of the Times. Oh yeah. I'm both fans. I'm not one or the other. I'm both.
Yeah, as I said, but it is a very much of
scandalous.
It's a very much
scandalous. Yeah, that Batman soundtrack. People sleep on that Batman soundtrack. I like that.
Okay, I hated that soundtrack.
Okay.
So I just because that's why I don't like. So that's why I wasn't too big with.
It was a little cheesy. I would go there.
Yeah, okay, but that
I will admit it.
That Minnesota sound. I wasn't. Jam and Lewis took a while. I think by the time they got to the late '80s, they separated from that Prince stuff because because the music, the Morrison at the time, it just
didn't connect with you, and that's
just too loud. It's too much.
Yeah.
But when they separated from Prince, then they did the stuff with SOS, and they did the stuff with Sherelle and Alex, and they started to find a nice, simpler group. I don't like a lot of the stuff they do with Janet. Sometimes it's just too much. The Control album was great. So there's something about Prince's sound that I didn't connect to, maybe because I wasn't born in the US, and I'm thinking, as I said, I was born in the UK. I went to high school in Nigeria, went to college in the US, and so my sound and my music is very rooted in some pop, because in the UK it was a lot of pop. We didn't have strong R&B, and then when I went to Nigeria, it was a lot more R&B, and so in a
It might
way.
be a cultural, element to it too, because like I said, when I grew up, yeah, I grew up listening to the 90s, but my parents made sure I knew I've heard music from every era.
Yeah.
And not only that, I grew up in a funk house. I grew up in a funk house, but also dance music. Like we listened to all kinds of things, but
Mhm.
I grew up on funk bands, rock, musician driven type of music.
Yeah.
Not to say I wasn't into pop and pop R&B and hip hop. I was, but I had a wealth of different things so I can appreciate what, not saying that you can, I'm just saying I can appreciate what Prince is bringing to those records when he's playing that guitar for like 5 minutes and then he comes in
Yeah.
and sings. Like I understand what's going on. And a lot of people, they can't digest something like that,
Yeah.
and that, that's why people, if, for example, there's certain people that people like that, most people don't even know what, they can't measure their success. Like there's a rock band by the name of the Grateful Dead, and for whatever
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a certain segment of people that constantly bring them up decades
Yeah.
later,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they haven't had any hits on the charts, but people just love that band. So,
Yeah. ZZ
but
Top
that's not the
there.
case with
Yeah.
Prince, because Prince got he got hits for days.
Yeah.
So we could talk about
Yeah.
this all day long, but
Yeah. I
I
know.
thought it was interesting that we explored that, because we have to get back to, once we get back to Versus and what it is, we can have that conversation, because a lot of people bring in outside things. Oh, this person, Jay-Z, for example. Oh, Jay-Z, lyrically this, but we ain't talking about lyrics. We talking about hits. We talking about what that song make you feel when you hear that song played, and
Yeah.
the next person's song. How does it, that's
Yeah.
what we going on.
And yeah. And as I said, if it'd be interesting. I mean, I would actually, be good for you guys, who are watching this to say, can you list out 20, because it's 10 is easy with Mike. He just
20.
brings, because Mike could just bring out two, he'd bring out bad, because he had 7 out of 10, top 10 singers off that. He could just bring out bad and just throw in a few from dangerous, and then and win the top 10. But if you're going for 20, so he needs to go back to Off the Wall, take some from Thriller, take some from Bad.
Prince fans, don't
take, take
don't kidnap Nnamdi and throw him in the closet somewhere.
And Michael,
I'm worried about your safety
Michael
now.
won't
Be careful
even,
now.
he won't even have to go to the Jackson 5. He won't even touch I'll Be There For You or ABC. He won't even, or even go for Ben. He won't even try and do any, oh, Can You Feel It? He won't even need to do that. He can, yeah, as I said, I've made no secret that I'm,
Well, if
biggest
Beyonce
Michael.
can't use Destiny Child, Michael can't use Jackson 5.
As I said, he wouldn't even have to. He wouldn't even need to go back to Ben or even take the
So,
Wiz, soundtrack, or Captain EO.
mhm.
I mean, Smooth Criminal. Tell me what Prince has done.
He said Captain E. Oh my God.
Just Smooth Criminal. Look at that.
Yeah, Smooth Criminal is bad. Like I said, it's an interesting pairing. I don't think it's a fair pairing. I don't think it's an equal pairing. I think it's two different artists. That's like
Yeah.
putting, the Rolling Stones against, I don't know, Backstreet Boys. It's just weird. Like,
Yeah. I
it's
actually
just two
think
different things.
Prince didn't mind the comparison because it boosted his popularity. Because saying, "Oh, you're comparing with Michael," he
No, I think Prince was offended. Like Prince is probably thinking, Michael don't play no instrument. Prince was thinking, what hit? Prince was thinking, what hits have Michael actually wrote? Let's not forget now. Quincy has said. Did we forget that Quincy came out and said that Michael was stealing songs? Let's not go there. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. But Michael has wrote some hits. But I do
he
believe
wrote
that
Billie Jean. I don't know.
what
I don't.
Quincy Jones say though. What
No,
Quincy Jones say?
okay. I'll need to.
Let me pour my drink.
Yeah, I
We
need to
gotta
hear.
we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah,
Y'all let us know what you
yeah,
think in the comment section.
yeah, definitely. Because I might give Prince and Janet a sort of a go to go. But anyway, let us think.
Prince and Jenny ain't got that. Shouldn't even, those two names shouldn't even be in the same sentence. She's like a, what do you call that? A 6 degrees of separation kind of thing. Like she's become because of Prince. Matter of fact, Prince wanted to produce. If I'm not mistaken, Prince wanted to produce Janet in the beginning of her career. But I'm not bringing all those little nuggets of information out. But Janet. I mean, Yeah, Janet's father thought his music was too nasty, or I think it was her mother thinking his music was too nasty. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I want to hear what everybody thinks in the comment section.
Yeah, just if you have 20 songs
Put
from Prince and 20 Michael songs, and you want to say if you were to organize a
yeah,
verses for both of them, since they're sadly no longer around, or
yeah, they're
20
not.
songs from Prince against 20 songs from Michael, and who you think might win. But as again, thanks for watching, guys, and taking part.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for watching the show today.
And before we go, remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button.
Yeah, but also remember to hit the notification button so you can be notified when we have a future show.
That too.
All
All
right.
right. See you
Thanks,
next time.
guys.